Hello and welcome to another episode of Celebrities and the Stars. I am Sigrun and I am going to be talking about Perez Hilton today. As you may or may not know, he did try to take his own life earlier this week over a live stream on his TikTok. And it was quite traumatic for a lot of people who did see it, and myself included. But I took a look at his natal chart to see what might have been going on. But we're going to be talking a little bit about who Perez Hilton is. Not Paris, but Perez. He is an Aries sun, and he became famous for mocking celebrities through insulting nicknames, crude drawings over paparazzi photos, public shaming, and commentary that was very critical of them and their appearance, their weight, their relationships, sexuality, and their personal lives. He said that attention was his drug and it was an addiction for him. And he knew he was doing a bad thing by doing these things, but he kept doing it because he kept being rewarded for it. Now, he recently converted to Christianity. I'm not sure which denomination, but he talked about sending his children to Catholic school, but he converted after a hospital stay. But we are going to be looking at his natal chart. We do not have a birth time for him, so we are not going to be looking at the houses necessarily, but we can, find some things that are going on and look at the transits on his chart. He is a Aries Venus and Aries Mercury. So a lot of Aries energy, the I am energy. And we're looking at the transits of the day he tried to unalive himself, which was August 4th. That was the date of the live stream. And after looking at his natal chart and these transits, and I'm going to explain my reasoning here, I believe that his recent turn to Jesus triggered his mental health breakdown. And no, I don't believe he was demonically possessed. A lot of people were saying that. And I believe it's more that he was possessed by Yahweh, the Christian God, as Christianity does have its history of, self-mutilation, flagellation, and shame associated with that self-mutilation. And like I said, I did watch the video, so I am picking up on a lot of energy from that video, looking at his natal chart and understanding who he was prior and who he's trying to be, and the outcome of that. Now, the first thing that pops into my mind here is let's find Saturn. So I looked at the natal chart and I see where transit Saturn is. It is conjunct with the transit moon on August 4th in Aries. And that is conjunct his natal Venus. So Saturn being the lord of karma, he's facing some retributions for what he did in the past. And also, it's right there on his Venus. So, his love, what he enjoys, that is being just turned upside down. A reality check. And also a reality check, in his relationships and his money. Because, he's recently been trying to get, people to buy his Jesus merchandise, because reports have been that he's broke or he's, having financial difficulties. So this Saturn transit, his natal Venus, is very much indicative of financial difficulties. And then we've got his natal Mercury in Aries, where he thinks aggressively. And this is in conjunct, not conjunct, but in conjunct. His natal moon in Virgo. He is a Virgo moon. So this does present a lot of issues for his mind, where his emotions are geared towards service. But his thoughts with that Aries Mercury don't agree with those emotions. So this, maybe it's just hitting off that guilt that he's had over how he's behaved and treated others. He's been at this for nearly 2 decades. And he's, his Aries sun is also there. We've got to keep that in mind. So his ego, it's very me first ego. And it's not a very good combination with a Virgo moon, which Virgo moon tends to be, more in service, but Virgo can also be very judgmental. So, with his emotions, he's being judgmental of himself right now as well. And then we have transit Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini, don't discount that, is conjunct his natal Jupiter. And Mars, when it's in Gemini, it really screws with your head a lot. So his social Jupiter, that Gemini Jupiter, got this aggressive dose of that Gemini Mars, and it's square his sun in Aries too. Remember, he live streamed the self-harm. We can't rule out the Mars in Gemini, as Gemini is such a social sign. But we can also see it's the transit Jupiter is also in Aries, and it's conjunct his natal sun in Aries. So he's stuck between escape and action. If you saw the video, or if somebody described the video to you, he said it hurt, but it felt good. And Neptune is about delusions. So he was all over the place in his own mind. And, if you watch the video, you would see that. It was, definitely a cry for help. And it was definitely, he apparently went through sepsis a couple of months ago as well. And that could return, unfortunately, which is something I don't wish upon anybody. I've been through it myself. It's awful. So we've got the transit Mercury in Cancer is conjunct his natal Mars in Cancer. So he's entered a defensive shell. Remember, Cancer, the crab. And they enter in their shells as a form of protection. And his natal Mars is square his Venus and Mercury in Aries. So he's got that emotional explosion that we saw on the live stream, which really explains what happened. So demonic possession? No. Perhaps it was the negativity of everything that he did, and he wants to punish himself for it. And unfortunately, with that Christian ideology surging through his mind, because he connected with 4 other people, I don't know who they were, in the live stream, and they started ranting about, obviously stop doing that. But one guy started ranting about, oh, you're drinking the tap water. Okay, we know what type of Christians that you're getting yourself involved with then. This isn't healthy and it isn't good for you, despite everything that you've done. This can be an indication of possession of, the negativity of Christianity that a lot of people don't like to talk about, where it pulls out the worst in people and it takes advantage of people in their worst times. And I think we're seeing that right now in Perez Hilton. And, he's had this karmic return of Saturn here in Aries, conjunct his Venus. So his whole world just got turned upside down. And if, when he comes out of it, we'll have to see how he handles himself, if he realizes that this was influenced by people around him, by that Christian influence, or if he continues to seep deeper into it. But thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in reading, links are down below. And until next time, may the stars guide you.